You don't know how to do this? Cool people.
That's the $100 million offer.
That iPad is $100 million offer.
You're navigating it through your text thread, so anything you tap on is going to try to send it.
Are we up? Hey, we're up.
Hey.
Good morning, everybody.
We
and
are
welcome
not
back
live.
to a beautiful Mastermind Monday. We're going to need to join a mastermind on how to get the YouTube volume up at some point, but we're going to make it happen. All right.
Just reshare everything
Yeah.
you just dropped.
Okay, yeah. So got a few things going on. Today's episode is going to be about systems, services, and operations. Number one, most importantly, if you have any comments, if you have any, what up, palm tree? What's up? So if you got any questions or anything, make sure to drop it inside of the chat because truthfully, right, that's kind of one of the top reasons as to why we do this. And this is for sure, for me, $100 million offer. Definitely one of the greatest days and times of the work week for me, I believe. Also got something else cool happening on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Josiah, what's that?
It's something huge. It's something that is huge, and it's
a conference that is going to be huge. And I'll say this. When I walked into the huge conference last year, I literally did say, dang, this is a huge conference. Like there's probably 1,000 people there
pressure
from all
washing
around the country.
companies all over, soft wash, window cleaning. It is awesome. It's here in Nashville. It might be too late. Just I don't know. Maybe if you're local, you can.
I think I just walk in there with $100. Be like, look, man, just let me in.
$100.
It's $100 offer.
Hey.
I think it's $250 to get in. Yeah, I think it's $250. I bet you there are probably some spots. What they probably don't have are spots to stay at the hotel. But anyways, we got that going on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Super excited about it.
Look for the black shirts with the white on it. Brown's pressure washing.
We will be there, dog.
And then we're going to be giving away some shirts, maybe.
Yeah. If you come find us, we'll figure out a way to do that.
We've got some triple
First
X
10, I think.
shirts that we are no longer using.
We got some 4X
So
shirts.
we're going to give those 4X shirts away.
And extra small.
You can just cut it right down the middle if you need to, and you got a brand new comforter for your king size bed. So
Bam.
I think those are called Snuggies.
We're actually going to sew the bottoms of them and then play a game where we
oh man.
this place.
Well,
But
thank you guys for joining us today. We do appreciate it. We're really excited. So we can jump right on in here.
hey, before we get started, let's give either a fail or a win from this past weekend. And if you've got both, go ahead and share both. But if you've got a failure or a win from this past weekend, we'd love to hear about it. I'll share my success or something I'd celebrate. Is my wife and I were in service yesterday at a church called Long Hollow in Hendersonville, Tennessee. And while the pastor's preaching, God is speaking to my wife's heart. And just my wife ended up responding to the message and felt like God had put it on her heart to get re-baptized. She got baptized when she was 18, right after I got saved from being a drug dealer, pothead high school dropout. And she says a lot of life has taken place, and I felt like just God wanted me to re-baptize and rededicate my life to Him. So that's my huge
awesome
walk away. And then a woman ended up reaching out to her and inviting her out, which is so beautiful, is when other folks invite another human being out to something special. And they had like a woman's night last night. So that's my win from the weekend.
That's awesome.
Huge.
What's your fail?
Oh man, I woke up this morning and every single Google location that Browns has been flagged and suspended.
Did we have to say that out
Well,
loud?
it's the biggest fail. And
You
so,
better make it a W.
and imagine being a business owner, and we almost have 1,000 reviews at our location, the huge conference. You know, we want to be up and running during the huge, but for some reason, it just got suspended out of nowhere. And so I'm not sure why, but at 4 a.m., I'm working on trying to get it back up and rolling. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's not our business. It's God's business.
Yeah.
We try to be faithful in the business. And that's all I got on it.
Yeah, my win from the weekend, I would say, is somewhat similar. I've had a close friend, brother to me, give me a call. I'm not saying his name because I don't know if he's sharing information yet, but
I'll say his name.
He called me last night and he was like, similar thought as Jen. You know, he was like, hey, I was baptized when I was 13. We go to the same church that Josh does, and he was listening to the sermon, and he called me up and said, hey, I want to rededicate my life and get baptized, and I wanted to know if you would be the one to baptize me. And so that was really special because that was something that I felt like God was putting on my heart as well. And so God's moving. No one's safe. So if you're listening, you ain't safe. He's coming after you. So really cool fail of the weekend. I don't know if I really have one. I'm just everything's for me, you know. I don't think I've got
I
a
love
fail. It's so hard. I'm so optimistic.
Sometimes you have way bigger fails than other ones. I get that. I get that. I feel you.
Yeah.
Now, my win and fail are both going to sound a lot less spiritual than these guys. So I either need to. Palm Tree says, my wife and I own Palm Tree Cleaning Solutions, LLC. We have landed a contract with a huge storage facility chain. That's his W. Golly, man.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
If they have anything in the Nashville market
Give
and
us
you
a
need a
call.
network, and then we will vice versa you on that conversation.
Yeah, we'll figure something out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would say this weekend, this is going to sound so stupid. Forgive me. I got to take an hour-long nap in the middle of the okay? To me, that was kind of a W.
That's all.
Like, that really was. That was like my daughter was asleep. My wife went to the grocery, and I did the same thing you did. I just laid in the bed and fell asleep for 1 hour. And it was kind of extraordinary. I was like, dang, this feels weird. It feels like I have no responsibilities, which is also my fail. That nap ensued some kind of behavior over the rest of the weekend where I just didn't want to do anything. And I was so much stuff to do before this week. We got a baby shower coming up this week, and we got a lot of stuff to do. And it was a miracle that I got the grass cut.
Like, it was a miracle that you showed up at my house and grabbed the furniture.
Especially when you all of a sudden didn't read my message the right way and said you're going to sell it. And then you smacked it with a chair.
And then you showed up.
And then I showed up and everything was all good.
There you go. And so today, let's go ahead and get started. Oh, let's start off in order.
If you're just now joining in, we're talking about systems, services, and operations today, but we will be talking about anything else that you would like to. So if you have a win or a fail from the weekend or both, drop it in the chat. If you've not already subscribed, and let's jump in with prayer.
Father, we thank you for every viewer, everyone that ended up subscribing and being a part of our channel. We ask that you'd help us to know how best to navigate through this world and this time that we're in, and to be faithful till the end of our lives. It's in Christ's name I pray. Everyone said,
Amen.
Amen.
What up?
All right. Who wants to handle the first question?
Well, before we get too in depth, what's the palm guy?
Palm Tree.
Palm Tree.
His name is not Palm Guy. It's Palm Tree.
Palm Tree. Dude,
Palm Tree, if you don't mind dropping in here your real name, we try to do that. I also kind of like Palm Tree. I like that.
It might.
I'm at the beach.
Yeah, it does make you feel like you're on a vacation every time you say his name. It'd be kind of cool to get you on the show. Maybe we can do something like what we did with Nate, bring you on and chat about, how you're getting these facilities and stuff like that. I think that would be super cool for everybody.
He did just share his fail. My fail is I accidentally shaved my face the wrong way, and then I had to shave my beard off. Now I have butt face. Let me share with you. I used to have a beard. I do not really anymore. It was very long. And I actually used to have literal nightmares about accidentally shaving it the wrong way and having to shave it off. So that's pretty awesome. That is a terrible fail. Sorry about it.
Who you calling butt face?
He called himself butt face. But yes, like Josiah said, if you have any other questions, we do bring guests onto the show. We're going to have one on, I think, next week or the week after. And so if you've got some questions you'd like to run by us, or just like to start a relationship, send an email in. We'll drop an email inside the chat box. Caleb or Scott will, and there you can submit a form to be on the show.
Yeah. So first thing that we're going to be talking about is project management. There's three: project management and just exploring the company's project management methodologies, tools, and practices to ensure efficient executions and timely delivery of projects. That was very wordy, but how do we as a company operate in a way where we can deliver a great product and a consistent product every single day? And then maybe what can someone do who maybe is an owner operator or a smaller operation, take what we do and apply it to their own stuff?
All right. So the first question is, what I hear from this is explore the company's project management methodologies. Who wants to start with that? When you think of them,
I really think we should start with Josiah. He is the ops guy. He's the ops expert. I think all of us have small answers inside of that question that are specific to our team. So I'm more on the sales side. Josiah's more on the operations. You're more on overall and vision casting culture.
Yeah. So I would say to start off with at least our areas, we are 7 years in, pretty much, right? 7 years.
Yeah, a
Pretty
little
much.
over
6
7
and a half,
years.
7.5,
A
somewhere
little
around
over
there.
7 years.
May 2016 was the first LLC.
Let's go.
Yeah, so
That's awesome.
Yeah,
So, we've got lots of systems that we've developed over the past 7 years, and we've built on top of each other. And so one thing that you'll hear a lot of us say is systems, or SOP, which is standard operating procedure. These are very like corporate kind of words that are kind of boring, or terms that are boring. But when you recognize that an SOP takes chaos and organizes it into something that's beautiful, it becomes your best friend. And so if you have started a business, maybe you're not the organized type. I would say that more than half of the people who start businesses are maybe not the most organized. They're the dreamers. They're thinking about what's in front of them instead of, what needs to happen right now. So SOPs are going to be your friend, not while you're creating them, but while you're using them. One thing that we use is an equipment checklist. This would qualify as a standard operating procedure. And so we've got all of our equipment on each truck put onto a sheet. And then before you take that truck, you check off all of the equipment just to make sure that you have it, you're prepared for the day. And when you return, you do the same thing. What this is going to allow you to do is to not think about the small things throughout the day. And it's going to allow you to keep your mind on the bigger stuff. If you don't have that checklist, you're going to be thinking, did I grab this? Did I grab that? Where'd my ladder go? I left it at the customer's house. You don't want that. That is backtracking. And so look at these things that we're going to be talking about as a good thing. Don't underestimate what we're going to be chatting about. So that's a very brief intro to this, because we could go way deep. And I'll say this right now. I know I'm talking a lot. I've had coffee and I've been thinking about this, so I'm excited. Right now, we're reworking a lot of systems for our off-season playbook. So we got 2 playbooks. We got an on-season and an off-season. So we're going to interchange them. So know that the systems that you create for right now may not work for the future. So just be okay. They're not set in stone. They're not chiseled in stone, but be okay with plan, do, study, adjust. PDSA. Plan, do, study, adjust. That's what you do with your systems, right, Brady?
Absolutely.
methodology.
I felt like we were just going to go in order of the people that were in the room on this bench.
You
but
thought wrong.
I thought wrong. So on the sales side, for me, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to share with you like what I'm doing with our team of 4, including me, but 3 full-time salespeople, what I run them through, and then how to apply it as just one sales guy. The methodology for us is, number 1, weekly sales meetings. We have a weekly sales meeting where we stay up to date on the numbers. If something is a tinge off, whether that's average ticket, closing percentage, number of leads, I know that because I'm so in tune with the numbers, because we're running weekly meetings where there are tiny little behaviors that can be changed or forgotten, like inside of the follow-up process every morning, sending a follow-up message to the people the day before that didn't close. That affects the percentage if the team's not doing it. And it's usually not a major fix. It's usually just a drip reminder to stay on top of the team of what they need to be doing on those closing percentages. So I think a lot of times people, when they think about SOPs, they think that it's an operation that will always be held to a high standard and the standard. And a lot of times normal busy life just takes over and you lose track of what you've implemented in the beginning. As a one-man show, let's say you've got a truck or 2 trucks of technicians that are out cleaning and you're doing all the selling. The number one thing I would share is be in tune with the numbers. Set an average ticket price that you'd like to see yourself and your company be at. Set a closing percentage roughly that you'd like to be around, and then hit those numbers. There are different things inside of that you can do to hit certain numbers. Mm-hmm. But if you're in tune with the numbers, 1, you're in tune with them. You always know. You know what's going on. You're in fluid with the machine. You don't lose track. You don't lose focus, and you don't feel like something is going wrong. And 2, it gives you a purpose inside of the week and inside of the position that you're playing inside of that week. So I would say a weekly sales meeting with yourself. For me, when I was alone doing it, it was a daily thing. I was looking at the numbers literally almost every day, and it just keeps you in tune with the pulse of the business.
Now, did you have just a killer system out of the gate?
Oh, heck no.
How did you create such a killer system? Because it's almost a plug and play we got going on.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some training, but the system works pretty much universally for whoever is in that position. So how did you, what was the process? You don't have to give the details, but the process of coming up with a great bulletproof sales system.
I think it started with knowing the numbers. Like, we were in pretty constant communication in the very beginning of like, oh, dude, we did this today. Da, da, da. And it wasn't like an expectation that someone expected of me to know the numbers. It was just my brain was that way. I enjoy that. And so knowing the numbers told me when I was winning and losing. Mm-hmm. And off of losing, I developed systems to course correct to divert more towards a win. And so if you're just going out and selling and doing what you can, there's nothing inherently wrong with that, but you're missing an opportunity to refine and be great if you don't have some kind of standard set for what a win looks like and what a loss looks like.
I skipped over something that was very important: the plan, do, study, adjust. And what Brady is talking about is exactly what you should do as it relates to looking at your closing percentage, or looking at your equipment, or looking at your marketing or leadership, whatever it is. You plan a system, you do the system, you study the results, and then you adjust it based off of the results that you found out. And so what Brady's saying is, he was looking at the numbers, he came up with the game plan, he put it in place, he found out that it moved some things around, he studied the numbers, and then he adjusted it to figure out what would work best. And so plan, do, study, adjust, or act. That's like a very easy framework to look at your systems.
Yeah, if you guys were going to play Ultimate Frisbee, who's going to be your first pick out of the three of us? Like, who's the best Ultimate Frisbee player between the three of us?
Oh, Josiah.
Ping pong?
Josiah. That hurt me to say out loud.
Making a stake? What about football? Playing football? Who would you want as your
Depends on the
quarterback?
position.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, it depends on the position.
Depends on the position.
Gotcha.
I don't know.
Now, what about making a steak? What's the best way to prepare a steak?
Reverse sear. Okay. So when you're preparing a steak, this is important. Rule number one to preparing a steak. Okay. I'm going to help you understand. I'm going to help you understand something.
If it's one, you better get it right. That's all I'm going to say.
That's fine.
What's one?
I'm with you.
What's one? I want to hear it.
What's one?
What's your one?
Room temperature. Don't pull it out of the fridge and put it right on the grill. Give it delayed gratification, baby. You're going to put it out on the counter. You're going to let it get to room temperature. It's going to soften those muscles up. You don't have to tenderize it. It's going to do it itself. While you're waiting on it to get to room temperature, you're going to put your salt on there. That'll tenderize it without you ever having to touch it. It's going to sweat the juices out. You're going to put it on the grill. Low temperature. Let it cook for 20 minutes to 120. Let it cook to 127 internal temperature.
Where's your Irish
butter? It's coming. Hang tight.
Beginning.
You got it. You got to reverse sear. The reverse sear is you're just getting to an internal temperature on the reverse sear to 127 degrees. You're going to pull it off. You're going to crank that bad boy up to 500 degrees. Slap it on the grill. Butter based. Gives you that nice crisp. Pull it off. Let it rest for 10 minutes. It will reabsorb the juices. And now you can charge someone $80 for that steak.
Not bad. You didn't do a bad job. But I'm putting some Irish butter all over the steak for me.
For sure. But that comes on the second half.
I don't know, man. I like to let it thaw while it is marinating in the best Irish butter.
I'm not against it. If you're just now joining us, we're talking about systems and operations.
Yeah. And so here's a question, Brady. Why is it important for you to have a system and a process for your steak? Why?
Why is it important? Because you can guarantee results.
No, yeah, but why? What's going to happen once you put that thing in your mouth?
Oh, you're going to just love it.
You're going to have a what?
An experience.
Boom! All right. The reason that you do it.
So you're not already woken up. Good morning.
When you think about a system and a process and a methodology, it's at the end of the day an experience that you're trying to give other people. And so if you're trying to figure out how you're going to have your method and your systems and put a project in order, you have to start with why. Why am I doing this to begin with? And for us, from a visionarian standpoint, the why is we want to love God and love other people. And so we do that by first making sure that we ourselves are spending time being the who's that we want to be in the future so other people can have a great
Experience.
You can have a great coach and a bad experience with a great coach. You can have a good steak, but a horrible experience.
Yeah. You can still get the results, but not enjoy it.
You go to a restaurant and you pay $80 for the steak, but the people treat you like trash and spilt junk on your wife. It ain't a great experience. And so for us, when it comes to your methodology, I would encourage you to first think about this. What do I want other people to experience when I'm around you? And you've got 3 people inside your business that you need to make sure have a great experience. Your customer, don't know it?
Team members,
Your team members, and
your vendors.
your vendors. At the end of the day, that makes up your entire company. And the goal for us is for them to have a great experience with whatever we do. And it is a crappy experience to get to your truck and have broken equipment.
That's super good.
It is a
Yeah.
crappy experience to get to your truck and you see all the jobs that you have on the day, but you have no idea what you need to have on your truck to get to the customer's house to begin with. And so the why behind what you're about to do matters. And I want to encourage you, think about the experience that your customer, your team, and your vendors are having and ask the question, how do I make sure they have a great experience? And then when you get feedback of them having a bad experience, it all reveals that there's a system that needs to be set up in order for everyone to have a great experience.
You know, Josh, I won't say it yet, but
Okay.
do you remember the quote that you told us the other day?
Yeah, dude.
Okay. So
Stanley.
when you are asking yourself, why is this happening? Why am I not closing jobs? Why am I not getting a 5-star review? What is going on? Why am I always forgetting these things? How come I can't, collect invoices or whatever it might be? What was the quote? Like when you're asking yourself this question, this is the answer.
Your system is perfectly designed for the results that you're getting. And so at the end of the day, your system is set up. And the reason that you're experiencing less than a great experience is because your system,
SUCKs.
or it's just been set up to get that experience.
Exactly.
And so it doesn't matter what it is, your relationship with your spouse, friends, family, saving money, you name it, it's ultimately reveals an operating system that needs to be adjusted.
Yeah. So we all have systems. It's just, do we need to adjust them? If you're sleeping in when you should be getting up, that's a system that you have in place. It's a personal lifestyle system. And so if you're not getting the results you want, if you're not getting the results that you want, it's not because you don't have a system. You've already got a system. You're already doing something.
Yep.
So adjust it.
When I first started the business,
I'd like to give a shout out to Ronnie Palmer in here. He's the palm tree. He may already be gone, but I'd like to just address really quick. He said, about to get cranking. God bless you guys. Focus on 5-star reviews and everything else falls into place. That's pretty good advice.
Yeah. Has he been listening to our podcast?
I don't know.
lately?
I think he's got his own thing going on.
I don't
palm
know,
tree
man.
down there.
Yeah, I guess great people think alike.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have said that. But all right, so where will we just go? Oh, the system when I opened up in 2016 was when I got a phone call, I grabbed anything that I could find to write the name, the phone number, the address, and the service that they desired. And so like that was like a napkin, it was a receipt, it was my hands. I would literally be walking through Kroger's, Food Line, Publix, Walmart, you name it. And I would write customers. I didn't have anything to put stuff on. And when you're talking on your phone, it's hard to get notes and all that going on when you're moving. So my system started out just by writing everything down. By February 2017, with just a few months of services underneath our belt, we got a great system by House Call Pro. And so let me encourage you, if you're trying to make it to the next level, you need a CRM. You need something to be able to take all your customers' information down and enter them into a CRM. So one of the first tools that we developed was House Call Pro. And then they end up, what all does House Call Pro do for us right now? Let's act like we removed it.
It runs our entire business. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It runs our whole show. It's obviously a place where it keeps all your customers. And that's very, very important. If you're keeping all your customers in a notebook, it's like humble beginnings, but having it stored away electronically opens up so many opportunities to do e-blast. But most importantly, it holds track of our numbers and it helps us send invoices. It helps us collect, but it helps us keep track of our numbers. All the reports that you need to know to keep a pulse on your business is inside of that CRM. Very, very, very important.
Yeah. And
Very
so
important.
whatever package you get, there's multiple folks that you can go to, but that's one thing that I would encourage you
Yeah.
to look at. What's the
And
next
we could talk a long time about SOPs, man. We
Yeah,
really
we really
could.
could.
I mean, because we're still, I mean, that's the thing too. I don't think you get to a place where it's just good forever. You probably get to a place where it's minor tweaks and minor fixes, but we're
Mhm.
constantly updating and innovating
Yeah.
our SOPs.
Yeah.
So we use Slack is also something we didn't
Ooh,
get to
that's
talk
good.
about, but
That's
we
good.
should mention the tools.
Yeah.
As you grow, you're going to have to figure out, how do I keep all the conversations organized and communication flowing? Can I store documents and videos? There's now AI integration that you can
Mhm.
throw inside of Slack.
Yep.
When someone says, hey, how do I pressure wash a house? And AI answers it and it shows them a video on how to do it. So
If you're just jumping in, thank you. What we're chatting about, we just finished up a section of talking about our SOPs. So today we are talking about system services and operations.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about all the services that we offer. We're going to talk about things that waste time for us inside of our business. If you missed that portion, it will be recorded, so you can jump back and watch the rest of that as well.
Yeah, and another good resource if you're looking at your personal systems, Atomic Habits is a really good book. There's a quote in there. He says, "You don't rise to the level of your goals; you fall to the level of your systems."
Mhm.
And so, just know that your systems are probably capping your success. So,
Yeah, you want to
Throwing
jump
that
into
in
that
there.
next section there?
yeah. So, the next section we're going to be talking about our biggest waste of time. What are they? What were they? How do we avoid those things? And what are our current struggles with? What are we currently struggling with and trying to change? And so, Josh, you had already mentioned our stuff is getting suspended on Google.
Yeah.
That's a struggle. We've
that's
had
massive.
plenty of opportunities to waste time and have wasted thousands of hours, I'm sure, in the past on things where systems could have easily removed those, those issues and those struggles. But I'll go ahead and start. One thing that we are currently working through and resolving is, our training process. In the beginning, you hire on your friends, you bring on these people, and like the training process is they just jump in the truck with you and you train them how to do it. Well, when you're not the guy anymore, always on site, spending all the time with these guys, it's kind of difficult to train them when you get to a company where you've got more crews, 8 crews. And so I think that's been a growing pain for at least the infield operations of as far as like, okay, plan, do, study, adjust, plan, do, study, adjust. And you find those weak links and you support it. You keep supporting it. You add accountability to it. And then eventually you've got a decent system that's built on how to onboard. And so for us, I think that's probably one of the biggest things that we're working through.
And man, it's only an L if you don't learn something from it. If you find out that when the office administrators, when they pick up the phone, they're not asking, hey, how did you hear about us? So like that's inside of our system, that's something I just assumed and thought was being completed. And when you find that out, if you don't readjust the course, it's only an L if you don't do that. So it's a loss in the moment, but I heard a smart guy one time say you learn more in the losses than you do the wins. And I agree with that as long as you walk away with a system and a structure to do it. My personal opinion on time wasters for us is meetings. And we may be in a different position than some people where we do have meetings, and meetings are important to us because they allow us to build systems and structure. That way we don't have to run and jump inside of something to work really hard. A system can solve that issue. But for us, up until literally, I think last week, meetings were probably the biggest waste of time for us. We implemented a high-level meeting. It's a department head meeting, so we've got people over these certain departments. And as we walk away at the end, there's like structured times, all the way down to like 5-minute increments of what we're allowed to do in those times. You got to, 1, design it. 2, have the person in the right seat to hold you accountable to be quiet, which is a struggle for me. And 3, walk away with the meeting with a recap email and dates and times of solutions of those things. We have wasted. There is no telling.
Yeah, it's called a level 10 meeting. And what Brady is kind of talking about, Josh, you're kind of just here. You're real quiet.
I'm just getting angry.
So what Brady is saying, like, he didn't even know that the office wasn't asking these questions. Well, it's not the office's fault that he doesn't know that. It's his fault. It's our fault that we don't know these things. So these level 10 meetings are a great opportunity for your team to bring the problems to you and for them and you to solve them collectively, and then to go out and adjust and change the system. And so level 10 meeting has been huge. We are loving it. Go check it out if you want to. Do it with you and yourself, or you and your wife, or you and your team. It's good.
You will lose a lot of money if you don't have a pulse on the business. The level 10 meeting helps you to keep a pulse on the business. You will, I 100% guarantee you, think that the systems that you set at one point are still just rolling. They will not be if you don't have a pulse on the business. Even if you're a team of like you're a solopreneur, and then let's say you've got one or two guys that works alongside of you. Trust me, man. Holding people accountable, it doesn't have to look like you're not doing what I've told you to do. It doesn't have to look like that, man. It's just keeping a pulse on the business and implementing systems. But I promise, if you don't keep a pulse on the business, you will lose track of those systems, because things just fade away in the wind. It's a game of telephone.
Yeah.
The more times you say things, the farther away you get from the actual answering of the phone, the different it looks if it's not documented, written down, and has a pulse kept on it.
Your team, your team, your family, they deserve that you do these things. And so imagine that you're on a plane, right? Imagine you're on a plane. You've been flying for a couple hours. You're going to the Bahamas, or you're flying. You're across the ocean at this point. And what was that?
That was a machine gun.
He's in war. He's not on a commercial airline.
No. We're in a commercial flight. That's not happening.
Okay.
And you hear the ding go off, ding, and then the pilot comes on and he says, "Attention to the cabin. We are in a unique position, and I've got good news and bad news. The bad news is none of my gauges are working. I don't know how much fuel we have. My compass isn't working. Our navigation system's down. We have no communication with the tower. We have no idea where we are. But the good news is we're making great progress."
Making killer timing.
Would you, as a passenger on that flight, feel comfortable knowing that the pilot, whoever's flying this plane, has no idea where they are? They don't have any gauges. Well, that's your family. That's your team members. If you don't have a pulse on your company. So going through the numbers, doing your due diligence to gather this information it's the gauges on your plane. And so don't fly this plane into the ocean if you don't know how much money you have in the bank. Don't fly it into a tree if you don't know where you're headed. So knowing the numbers is the gauges to getting where you want to go.
Can I go now?
You can go anytime you want to, man.
All right. So how I would answer this question and add to all the value that you guys gave was success is our biggest struggle right now, or time waster, because success comes along with it distractions and comfortability and a lack of awareness of what we should do when we should do it, because now you've experienced a little bit of success. And so for me, when we talk about what our biggest problems are or time wasters, it's distractions of opportunities that come for each one of us to know how to best utilize our time. And so your time is super valuable, and success sometimes will bring about other opportunities. And then it'll also make you comfortable. And when you're comfortable, you tend to not always do what you need to be doing to get things done and to grow, because you're comfortable. And so I would say time management is inside of there. Focus is inside of there. I would say all of those little caveats. And so what we're trying to do is say, okay, we got to have conversations of figuring out how to manage our time and who's doing what when, because if everybody's trying to figure out why our Google location is down, now somebody's not focused on the operations. Somebody's not focused on sales. Somebody's not focused on loving our team member that needs a call back inside the field, or focus on another company that we're trying to grow or build a relationship with. And so it's everyone knowing how to manage their time for the success of the company.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's
and that's
excellent.
real.
Yeah.
That's really good. Next question is, we're going to be talking about outsourcing and vendor management. We're going to be exploring the company's strategy for outsourcing certain functions of our company or managing relationships with external vendors. Also including, contract negotiations with like big commercial jobs and performance monitoring. So how do we manage our relationships with vendors? how do we manage our relationships with big contracts, and how do we manage our relationships with our individual team members?
Yeah, it's a good question. Brady?
I was reading Aaron Fireball sent a laughing emoji. I don't know if that was like
Probably the
as a
machine gun
question
one.
or if it was to this response. I don't know.
Aaron, welcome to the show. We
He
appreciate you being here.
He
Yes,
said,
sir.
Josh was like, can I talk now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't outsource much in terms of like we keep a lot of things in house. I feel like actually Josh probably answered that question better than anybody.
Windows.
He said that was Jamie. Yeah,
Window
outsource
cleaning.
windows. Yeah, so like that would technically still could be considered a vendor relationship. But the long story short, there's two types of relationships inside of this conversation. One's going to be your client, and one's going to be your vendors. So vendors would look like we have a sister company called Platinum Window Cleaners. We manage that relationship by us and them being on every estimate that we send, which brings us quite a bit of business. I'm in semi-constant communication with the sales manager over there where we stay in touch with what's going on. If we have new innovative ideas for how to generate leads for each other, that's how we would manage that side. I think there's a way that we're managing the vendor relationship with Absolute Chemical that Josiah can speak to for clients, and the vendor side of things for us. I have what's called a relationship drip section inside. I have an app called Todoist, and they give you different bars and different folders. And I have a relationship drip bar, a folder where I can go in there, and it's got several people inside of there. Some of them were people that we lost jobs on. Some of them are people that we have current relationships with, which don't need much remembering. For example, Topgolf, I reach out to them on random occasions that is unrelated from the business. It's just life conversations. That would be my number one tip, or the number one thing that I do is by staying upstream with those relationships, is trying not to always just be having conversations centered around business, because it puts a very business relationship on it. And I want for when Topgolf or Mahoney Environmental or any of those places that we have, for when they decide to bid something out, I want them to feel a little bit bad, if candidly speaking. And if you have a real relationship with people, one, it makes it easier for you to work with them, as well as it makes it easier for them to work with you and to trust you. You're really selling them convenience too. So like when Topgolf reaches out, or any of our longstanding clients and contracts reach out, we end up selling them convenience. We clean up grease. And so as soon as this particular customer of ours calls, boom, we're on it that night. It never fails. We have guys on call that are specific for those types of things. I want to make it so painless and thoughtless for all of those long-standing, high-level relationships that when they call me, that's the last time they ever have to think about it. It's just done. And so I would say relationship drip helps with that. And so you would block out time once or twice a month to go through a folder that you just follow up, stay in touch with. You're talking about life. It doesn't have to be business. And that'll really help you maintain those relationships long term.
That's good. Josh?
Yeah, I'm looking at you on this one.
No, I think we need to give you an opportunity to speak. I feel like I've taken up enough time.
All right, so outsourcing and vendor management. And so know that for us, we would not be inside of the management conversation as much as it would be relationship conversation.
Yeah.
And so even the way that we utilize verbiage is something. So whenever I share something, it's going to get into a philosophical conversation. And so the way that we see business is not through a business lens, but a relationship lens. And so this gets into the conversation of, how do we manage? It's all through relationship. And so it's like calling, it's texting, and it really is not just about business. Like for me, even if we lose someone's business or we're not utilizing, a television program or broadcasting, I love our guy. I love the folks that we've had conversations with and built relationships with. So it's more than that. We don't use the word employee. We use the word team management. And so when you get into this outsourcing, it's relationships.
Team member is what we use, not team management.
And this gets into why people leave. They don't leave businesses, they leave people. And so a lot of times when you have a trend, have people that are coming in and out of your business, is because relationally we failed somewhere. And so that gets into the not just team members, but also your vendors helping you out when you're in trouble, or your bank, or you name it. I'm just going to say everything has to do with relationships.
Now, specifically, what are some things that you do to kind of keep those relationships, like, because you can't really automate intentionality. You can on your own side, but you can't just have an automatic text sent out. Like, what are some things that you do to keep up with these relationships that you're talking about?
Now, I'm going to be super serious and a little bit spiritual with you, but whenever someone comes to my mind, I let them know.
Yeah.
And so
that's good.
for me, I'm not as organized as Brady is on the relationship drip. I just send random texts to folks and just say, hey, my heart's, you're on my heart, you're on my mind, anything that you need. I'll send prayers to people, just use the voice app. And it's not to it's just to simply love the person that you're in relationship with. And so in the morning, if I think through people that are gratitude, last night I had a dream and there was a guy that was in it. And I was like, man, I'm going to send him an encouragement. So it comes through dreams. It comes through just who I naturally am and what's on my head. Well, if I end up needing to get something from somebody, if it's like, hey, I need to ask somebody for a favor, and I haven't chatted with them about life in a while, I'm not going to send them a question about blah, blah, blah. I'm going to send them a message, and I'm just going to say, hey, how you been doing? Have you been running lately? Or, hey, are you still enjoying life? Like something relational, because I see things like deposits and withdrawals.
Mm-hmm.
And so my personality, I hate being taken from over and over and over again without being deposited in. And so because I feel that way, I want to try to make it a habit. And there's times I fail and I don't deposit like I need to, but I'm constantly reminded that if you want to be able to make withdrawals in life, you need to make sure you've times, I'm not going to say the $100 million offer, but you need to times tens it as far as how you're depositing inside of other people.
100%. I love that.
It's almost like with relationships, you give and then you get. You give and then you get. And you don't give because you want to get. But I will say one who inside of our company, he's a vendor, Micah Absolute, he's given so much. And it's like an unconditional giving to the point where you're like, man, this guy's he just loves our company. He loves, and he does that with everybody. He's always there to answer calls. The team is always there. And so specifically with the infield operations, Absolute Chemical is probably the most used and directed vendor that we have. And our whole team utilizes their whole team, which is incredibly helpful. Mike has been very intentional with, bringing, whether it's muffins or whatever, he'll just stop by and drop things off. And I'm like, he's very intentional, and he gives and doesn't ask for anything. It's not like, here's some muffins, but also, can you guys come pay this invoice, or whatever, which we might have some outstanding invoices. I don't know. But
I feel like we owe him a deposit pretty soon. Him personally, because like the story he's telling right now is good, but it's easy to breeze by how intentional this guy is. We have stories on top of stories that you would probably actually go, man, why does this guy actually even like you guys? And the things that he does are outstanding.
Yeah, if you want to think about how intentional he is, when was the last time you brought muffins to another vendor? Literally, I don't know. I mean, seriously, think about it.
What kind were they?
I don't know. I never got a muffin.
Did you get one?
I saw them.
What color were they?
They were blue.
They're blue. So blueberries.
Blueberry.
Yeah.
Blueberry muffin.
I like the banana nut bread.
So good.
Poppy seed.
I'm okay with that, but like if I had to choose, it's
I'm
banana
with you.
nut bread.
I'm with you on
I mean, come on.
I do like the chocolate chunk. I guess if we're talking Otis Spunkenmeyer, chocolate chunk and banana nut bread.
Banana.
Hey, you know who you need to stop networking with? I feel like we didn't even get into this conversation.
That's a
but
good one.
Who we need to stop networking with is our family members. A lot of times we're talking about business, and our family doesn't always want to hear about business. And so one thing I would just drop, just for personal reasons, and then also to those that are listening, our wives, our children, our family members are not always wanting to hear about what is wrong and what is right about whatever you're experiencing inside of business. There's more to life. There's more things to talk about than business. And so drop the conversation. I'm speaking to myself. once you're at home. Sometimes settle in.
That's good.
Sometimes
Yeah.
settle in.
Man living in his own mistakes here, but that's probably what this group is for, and not the supper table.
Yeah, my son called me out yesterday. Brady
That
came over to
was
pick
so
up some
funny.
furnture, and he said, "Let me guess, Dad, you're talking about upflip." And I'm like,
Who said that?
Judah.
No, Judah said he said something. He said upflip, and Judah said, "Dad, don't say upflip."
Yeah. My 6-year-old is in this jealousy state, and so it doesn't matter what I'm talking about, but if it ain't him, he ain't about it. And he's wanting me to stop talking about business related stuff. And I don't even think we were talking about business. He was just guessing what Brady and I were chatting about.
Yeah.
So, but it just goes to show, like, man, my number one why inside of my little full focus planner with Michael Hyatt, my number one non-negotiable is to be present wherever I am. And I'm so often not present where I am.
Yeah,
And just, he was calling me out on it.
yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, man, this was a long. I mean, I feel like we really could. I feel like we could go on and on about that, but
Well, to kind of wrap up the podcast or the mastermind, what we can do is the last thing on here is discussing in detail what services Browns offers. That
would take a very long time, actually.
Yeah.
Let's just
Maybe
hammer
we
it
can do
real
an
quick.
overview.
Yeah.
Maybe not in detail, but a quick overview so that you guys know maybe you should consider adding some of these services depending on where you live. You want to spit them off, Brady?
Hey, how
I
about
think
we-
let's start
we play a
here.
game and see who runs out first. So you name one, then I name one.
Okay,
All
yeah,
right, there
I
we
like
go.
that. I like that.
And do
Roof
it-
washing,
house washing.
Gutter cleaning.
driveways.
No.
Oh, you're going back.
Yeah,
this way?
backwards.
I thought it was just okay. Go ahead.
Driveways,
Gutter sticks,
Christmas lights.
Driveway ceiling.
grease cleanups.
Wait, that's not your turn.
Grease cleanups.
Okay.
Okay.
Fence cleaning.
Deck cleaning.
I think that's just wood services.
No,
wood
you don't get to
surfaces.
determine.
So
We
now you
didn't
get
make
to
it-
say wood
All right,
cleaning.
railings.
railings is definitely part of decks.
Okay,
Yeah, fence
so
could be
we've
part of
got
a deck.
we have wood cleaning, house washing, roof washing, clean and seals, grease cleanups,
Satellite.
gutter sticks,
Oh, solar panels.
solar panels.
That was mine. That was
See,
mine.
You
I
said
was-
satellites,
sorry.
which we would clean a satellite.
Post
if somebody
construction
has a-
cleaning. Post construction.
Yeah,
Oh, we're going commercial now.
yeah.
What's the
Building washing.
It's my building washing. Yeah,
Brady,
that's
now
my
it's your
go,
turn.
Brady, your go.
This is so stupid. Building gutter cleaning.
No.
No.
I'm just kidding. Okay, let's say I'm actually kind of running out here. Oh no, memento. I'm thinking.
Tree replacement.
I've got one.
Okay, you better go.
Mortar
'cause I'm
wash.
out.
Mortar wash.
Masonry cleaning is what
Masonry
that'd be. Yeah.
Efflorescence removal.
Efflorescence.
Whatever. I don't.
Yeah.
read
No,
that.
you're right. You're right.
I think Brady's out of the game. I think it's just
Efflorescence.
between.
I'm out.
I'm gonna say we already said grease, right?
Yeah.
Oil.
We said oil, right?
You said grease.
He got it.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm out. You win.
Rust.
Because there's like
Oh,
so
yeah,
many. Well,
right.
there's so many things like they all kind of think it's fall in the same.
Yeah,
category.
that's
bet
what a
you we-
loser would
So that's
say.
not detail, right? We didn't go we didn't go into detail, but those and I would say pretty easy. This would be my statement starting out. Houses, flat works, gutters, roofs. Dude, you can do a lot of revenue on those 4 services.
Mhm.
Expand as you learn the business and learn how things work.
Yeah, that's great. Well, if you enjoyed this, you had something.
He's got something, yeah.
Yeah, at the end of every show, as we land the plane, I'm
Oh,
wanting
yeah.
to share a passage of scripture. And I feel like it's relevant to our conversation. And so if you have your Bibles, if you're a Bible toter, if you're not a Bible toter, man, the book was written a long time ago by really smart people. And so it might be worthwhile at least learning what other people were chewing on and what people have been talking about for a few thousand years. And so look at Ephesians chapter 5, verse 15. And I'm just going to spend just a minute or two in these verses. I feel like if you're going to run a business, for us, we want Jesus to be in our business, and we don't want to kick him out of our business. And so in order for Jesus to be in our business, we have to be spending time with Jesus. And so this is a portion of our show where we just go in and say, what does God's word have to say about time wasters? And Josiah, are you there?
Ephesians 5, what? 14?
Yeah, 5:15.
5:15. Yes.
Such a good passage.
Yeah, it's powerful. I have Amplified. You've probably got ESV. You have ESV?
I got ESV. I think you should read it.
Well, let's let Josiah read, and then I'll bring in what some of the Amplified says.
All right. Ephesians 5:15. Look carefully then how you walk.
All right, stop there. When it says, look carefully how you walk, the Amplified says this: living life with honor, purpose, courage, shunning those who tolerate and enable evil. We could go a long time inside this one little conversation, but I do want you to look at it for a moment. If you're young, if wherever you're at, and you're trying to figure out, hey, how am I supposed to live this life, or how am I supposed to make decisions? When, I was a drug dealer, pothead, high school dropout, the first thing I learned was acknowledge the Lord in all your ways and he'll make your paths straight. And so I was like, man, I got to acknowledge God everywhere I am. And that way people that are evildoers will leave and people who love the Lord will come near. And I needed help identifying who to be around and who not to be around. When you look inside of this, it says, look carefully how you ought to walk. That means you're living life with honor, purpose, and courage. And inside of this life, you've got to take up courage in order to identify who you need to kick out and who needs to remain in your life. And if you tolerate those who are doing evil or even enabling evil to take place around you, to me, it's an easy indicator that I've got to kick this dude out of my life, or this kid out of my life, or this woman or whatever out of my life. And you got to be wise inside of this, so don't be dumb. But you do need to be like, hey, am I walking a life of honor, purpose, and intentionality? And then do I have the courage to remove those who are actually taking me away from my walk with God or being wise? Keep on reading there.
All right. Look carefully then how you walk, not as unwise, but as wise.
Yeah. And so when you talk about wise and unwise, when it says wise, you want to think sensible, intelligent, and discerning people. When people think before they make a decision, those are folks that are discerning the situation. And so be careful. If you're around someone that's always making quick decisions and those decisions seem like, hey, I don't know if that's a wise decision, ding, ding, that's an indicator that you need to say, I need to not be spending my time and my energy around this individual, because who you're around will ultimately determine where you go in life. And it's another Andy Stanley quote that I believe is a powerful one, is that you need to be careful who you spend time with, because they'll determine the quality and the direction of your life. And if you want quality and wise direction, you have to examine who you're allowing to influence you. And when you see fools acting like fools, and start up a new conversation, go somewhere else and just say, I'm not going to be around these people. And so that's something I would encourage you on. Read verse 16 and then we'll be done.
Yeah. Verse 16 says, making the best use of the time because the days are evil.
Yeah, and so listen what the AMP says. It says, on earth, recognizing and taking advantage of each opportunity and using it with wisdom and discernment. And so every moment of life presents itself an opportunity in life to make wise or dumb decisions. And what the scripture says is the days are evil. There are people that are actually doing evil. Don't participate. Walk wise. Surround yourself with people that are going the direction that you want to go. And that is a way of living life on purpose. And so this whole episode was talking about how to make wise choices inside your business. Well, maybe you need to look at who's in your business that's actually adding toxicity inside of your business, and then find a performer that loves Jesus and bring them into the business.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Guys, if you enjoyed that episode, we enjoyed this. We enjoy having you guys here every single week. Scott, next week is a guest, correct? Yeah, so next week we're going to have Eden's Way Washing on the show. Payne Stockard, right? From right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Longtime friend.
Let's go.
Excited for that. So make sure that you mark that on your calendars. Be here. If you're interested in being on the show, make sure that you send an email to the email that's inside of the chat. And on our YouTube channel, Scott or Caleb will totally hook you up. And we would be more than honored to be able to talk to you guys one-on-one about your business. Thank you so much for joining us this week. Until next week.
Peace.